This week on The Gadget Show, me and Jason shamelessly chasing celebs around London.
That looks like... Oh, that's Rebecca Lewis.
Me testing the new iPod Nano upside down on a roller coaster.
And Jason taking his brand new Aqua Hoverboard for its very first test. Will he sink? Only time will tell.
But first, here's Suzi with a short tour of our brand new studio.
So here's our little seated area where we're going to sit and chat, and there are John and Jason sitting and chatting. Hello, boys. This is our plasma tree. That looks very cool, doesn't it? Nice little view out of the window. There's the dragon climbing up the wall. And then over here in this area is our computer desk where we can surf the net and play with lots of software. So, there you have it, our Gadget Show studio, courtesy of the Sony HC1, which was our favourite camcorder from last year, wasn't it, John?
Absolutely. It was the world's first truly consumer high-definition camcorder, and I was so impressed with it, I bought one of my own.
Yes, but it can't be our favourite anymore.
That's because there are two new, smaller, sleeker, high-def honeys that have been sent to tempt us. But which one is best? Well, to find out, me and Suzi were set a challenge. It involved a lot of celebrities, a lot of competitiveness, and a lot of running around the streets of London.
Right, come on then.
This is it.
What have we got to do?
The challenge
it's
for the day.
Date.
It is a date, isn't
Scarborough.
it? Oh. There we go. Right, the Gadget Show challenge. Paparazzi for the day. Suzi and Jason, you have been given one day in central London with your camcorders.
Yeah.
Trusty pouch.
Acting as paparazzi, you must get as many pictures and video clips of famous faces as you... Oh, no.
Awesome.
Now remember, we're testing high-definition camcorders. Video is a fast-growing sector of the paparazzi market, and a good chunk of video of someone doing something they shouldn't be doing can be worth thousands. Kate Moss, anyone? So that's the challenge, but what about the camcorders?
Well, I'm using the new high-def camcorder from Sony, the HC3. It's smaller and lighter than its predecessor, but still records to mini DV tape, which does feel a little old-fashioned.
The HD1 is tiny and fits snugly into your palm. Worryingly though, previous Exactas were renowned for poor video quality.
There's a real art to getting a good paparazzi photo, and we've no idea what that art is. So before we set out, we've come to be briefed by a man who's made millions from papping, Darren Lyons.
Darren runs one of the world's largest and most successful paparazzi agencies, Big Pictures.
Hi, mate. This is our hard copy library. Kylie has 4 or 5 cabinets, and there's anyone who's... Anyone. You'll be in this library somewhere. There you go.
Always hot.
Always hot.
So, Darren, what makes a really good, saleable paparazzi picture?
Someone looking out of character. Certainly someone with someone they shouldn't be with, number one, or doing something they shouldn't be doing is where the big money comes from. You should be looking to get full length and a long lens.
Can I ask you about this technology that we use? I'm using this little Sanyo Exacti. It's kind of, you know, it's the new generation of cameras. Is this going to give me what I need?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think those things, actually, the length of the lens is quite good, especially for around town in London. And it's handy, it's quick, and it's you'll do really well with that.
Right,
In fact, just before I go, can I just get my first celeb? Is that okay?
You've got to take your lens cap off.
I know that, I knew that.
But will we actually find any celebrities? Well, stick around and I can guarantee big-name rappers, Hollywood celebs, and 4 rather large breasts.
Do you remember this?
Yes,
The
indeed.
mosquito. You've got to hear this thing to believe it. If you're below the age of 25, this will repel you. It uses ultra high-frequency sound to make people below the age of 25 feel very uncomfortable. And the amazing thing about it is it works like a treat. I mean, we almost did a clinical test of this thing, and it was incredible to see them falling like flies below the age of 25, and then the rest of us just stood there saying, what's the problem?
I was very disappointed not to be able to hear that.
Well, they brought out a new one. It's been upgraded to Mosquito version 2.0, and this thing can now be plugged into CCTV or motion detection devices so that it will be triggered by the presence of young ruffians and hoodies and such. It's clever, isn't it? Should we test it?
Is Is anyone there?
No, there is someone sat there having a drink. Can you just hold this window for me?
Ask him how old he is.
Oh, mate, how old are you? 23. Switch it on, Suze.
Get in, hang on. It's on.
Get out of it! Go on. Oi, take your rubbish with you. Look, take your skateboard and your music and get! It's fantastic.
I can't hear it.
I can't hear a thing. If you flex it in front of your face, it's really not pleasant to watch.
Oh, that's like nails down a chalkboard.
Actually, what we should have said when we switched it on is if you're below the age of 25 and you're watching right now, you should turn the sound down. Seriously, because we got lots of emails. The first time we used it, we did, because people can actually hear it through the televisions.
Ah, well, as we've probably driven away our audience that's under 25 and made everybody else feel very old, it's probably time to take a break.
But stick around to see the spectacle of me and Jason shamelessly chasing celebs around London. John testing MP3s upside down on a roller coaster, and Jason taking his brand new Aqua Hoverboard for its very first test. Will he sink? Only time will tell.
Now, I'm sure you'll all recognise this. The iPod Nano. For the last year or so, it's been the most desirable mini MP3 player in the world. But now, there's a new kid on the block. The iPod Nano. The brand new iPod Nano was announced to the world just 6 days ago at a series of simultaneous launch parties around the globe, and it was in the shops the very next morning. The new Nano starts at just £99 for the 2 gig model. 4 gigs will cost you £129, and a further 40 quid gets you the 8 gig version, meaning 2,000 songs in something the size of a small Milky Bar. So, what's new about it? Well, it's certainly not a revolution. In fact, it's only just different enough to be different. Here's the new one, here's the old one. They're about the same size with the same sized screen. Admittedly, the new one has round edges, whereas the old one's square, and the new one comes in colours. And unlike the old one, they extend round to the back. The old one had a smudgy chrome rear. But is that enough to keep this the mini MP3 player you want? Well, I've been testing pretty much all the new Nano's small competitors, and I reckon these two both stand a chance of stealing its crown. There's the Samsung YPZ5. It's heavier than the new Nano, but has a claimed 35-hour battery life. The 4GB version costs £130, the same price as the equivalent Nano, which we're testing it against. Our other challenger comes from an unlikely source. Memory card makers SanDisk have entered the market with the Sansa E200 series. You can get up to 8 gig of memory. There's a voice recorder, video and photo capability, and a memory card slot. We're testing the 4 gig version, which I've seen for 120 quid. It's thicker and heavier than the Nano, but lots of cool features for a good price. So, will either of these young pretenders be good enough to trounce the new Nano? Or will they go the way of so many other MP3 players that simply weren't up to the challenge? Well, to pit these 3 players against each other, I took them to a rather exciting environment. The Drayton Manor theme park. Our first test involves this roller coaster. It's 385 metres long, travels at over 40 miles an hour, and as the name suggests, at times I'll be pulling 4.3 G, the same as a fighter pilot in a turn. This is going to be all about ease of use. If I can select a song and get it playing on here, then I can do it anywhere. The ride takes 45 seconds, but the quickest to play will be the winner. First up, the new iPod. This has the advantage of still having familiar controls, but the disadvantage of going first before I'm used to the ride. So that should even things out. Right, we're off with the new Nano. Let's switch it on. Music. Good. Audio network. God, we're upside down. Period history. 19. Help! Flying. Track 27. Lovely. 27 and playing. Oh, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Next, the Samsung. Its tap-pad-style interface proved impossible to control while pulling all those G-forces. At one stage, I even managed to turn it off, and by the time the ride was over, I was still struggling to play the right track.
I'm going to be stuck on track 2. Stuck on track 2, 4, 5. I can't get it, I can't get it, I can't get it. It's impossible, it's useless. Certainly here, anyway. Oh.
The SanDisk was last to go. It had a very slow start-up time, which meant I was already upside down before I'd even managed to select anything. However, it is blessed with a simple interface, and I managed to get it to play the right track before the ride was over, but not quite as quickly as the iPod.
Track 27, and we're playing. Excellent.
So, helped by its very quick start-up time, first place for usability goes to the new Nano. After all that excitement, I need a rest. A cruise on the slow-moving water ride Excalibur should do nicely. Hopefully it'll be the perfect relaxing environment to check out our players' sound quality. And to judge their clarity and fullness, I'll be using the exquisitely trained professional ears of our sound man, Tim. You'll be hearing the actual music direct from the players.
So what do you think of the SanDisk sound, Tim?
I like the sound. It's not too tinny at the top, and it's got a full enough bass, so...
Give you that firm bottom
yes,
you need.
I like that.
Good. Right, let's try the Samsung. Hit play. Same piece of music. What do you think to that?
That's quite a lot louder. It's got a sharpness, a brightness to the top end, which is almost too much. But the bottom end's still got a nice, tight, firm bottom.
Ah, an MP3 player with a tight, firm bottom. You heard it here first. I wonder how on earth Tim intends to describe the iPod Nano.
Right. Now the new Nano.
That's interesting, because that's a sort of neutral sound, maybe even dull. It's...
Ooh, that's a difficult borderline, isn't it? Ooh, neutral versus dull.
Yes, it's a little unexciting. It's not had the same amount of top and bottom added to it that the other two have, so it hasn't got that sort of enhanced presence to make it feel exciting.
Tim and I agreed that it was the SanDisk that had the best sound quality. But we also agreed that the iPod came a very close second. Still, with just one test to go and the SanDisk performing so well, the iPod's dominance looked under threat.
Our final test is for battery life. All the players have been fully charged, and I'm going to set them playing on a continuous loop to see which one lasts the longest. Now, the producer thinks it'd be a really fun idea if we did this on the drunken barrels. Personally, I don't think it's one of his better ideas.
Now, in the early days of MP3 players, battery life was one of the biggest complaints. It was pointless having 10,000 songs in your pocket if you could only play 30 of them before heading home for a recharge. These days, things have improved a lot, which wasn't exactly good news for me on these wretched drunken barrels.
Hang on a minute. I've got an iPod Nano, and I know it lasts for at least 10 hours. You're not telling me that you sat on that thing for all that time?
Well, the intention was to stay on all night, but after about 20 minutes, I did get a bit bilious, as you can see there.
Here we go.
John, you okay? Seriously?
Oh, poor you, John. That's terrible.
Quite enough of that, it's bringing it all back. It was horrible. Anyway, we carried on and did the battery life test, and the SanDisk came out bottom with 21 hours, and the Nano came out next with 26 hours, which is actually quite surprising because we also tested the old Nano and that only lasted for 11 hours, so that's a massive improvement in battery life without making the thing any bigger. Though the Samsung narrowly won this one with 27 hours.
Wow, so overall then, looking at everything...
What I'm saying is, sorry to interrupt, Susie, what I'm saying is that overall, the Nano is the winner. Because it's the easiest to use, it comes a close second in sound quality and a very, very close second in battery life. Plus, it's still the most compact, the most desirable, the one you actually want.
Well, there you go.
Remember this? It's the hoverboard that I designed and built in the last series of the Gadget Show. It uses some plywood, a 30cc leaf blower engine and some pond lining. And you end up hovering on a cushion of air. As prototypes go, it was pretty effective. But now, I want to take it to the next level. In the original hoverboard, I used just one engine. For hoverboard version H2.0, I'm using 4. Why? Well, the clue's in the name. My second hoverboard isn't just designed to go on land, it's designed to go on water. Now, that may not seem like a big challenge, but think about it. The last hoverboard would only work on a smooth, even sports hall floor. If I tried to take it outside, the bumps and holes on the uneven ground would have caught on the underside. Now think how much more uneven water is. The slightest drop or dip and I'll sink. And don't go thinking that this thing will float of its own accord. Once I'm done, it'll weigh about the same as me. Now remember, I've invented a completely new hoverboard with this design. Hopefully the fact that the board is circular, with 4 engines set equidistant around it, means it should deliver much more power and be better balanced. Another important change from the first version is that I'm using 2 pieces of wood clamped together. This makes it heavier, but the 2 boards will sandwich the inflatable plastic skirt so it stays tightly sealed. The idea is that if no air leaks out, I'll maintain maximum power. This is the top to a cake box, and it's going to form the grommet underneath my hoverboard. It'll all make a lot more sense in a minute when you see it in action, but for now, I've got to put that in place, get my bolt through the centre, and then put the nut on the top to keep it all sandwiched together. Can you see it? There's the grommet underneath, the bolt through its centre. And it's that grommet that's going to enable us to pressurise the centre underneath. Each engine fires out air at up to 300 miles an hour. Obviously, if I kept on pumping air in, the plastic would just explode. So, a few strategically placed holes will allow enough air to escape and eventually create a cushion on which I'll float. Finally, I want to add some buoyancy should the engines cut out. Hopefully these foam tubes should provide a little protection on the open water. And once I've attached my 4 engines, I'll be ready to rock. Just 2 more turns. And that's it. Hoverboard version H2.0 is finally finished. Susie, John, she's ready for testing. Beautifully done. Well. Okay, here we go. Yay! Woo! Look out! So pleased.
Well done, Jace. That worked really well.
Thank you. You know, I don't know if the jeopardy is very clear, because when I'm in there for hours and hours, you know, you don't know when you get it out whether the engines are going to start and whether, of course, it's going to float at all.
That worked really well.
I can't wait to see whether it does float. Let's try it on the pond, now.
I love your enthusiasm, John, but I think I'll save that from a big showbiz ending to today's show.
Yes, gentlemen, because now it is time for the critical list.
Each week in the critical list, Susie, Jason and I will be taking a look at what's new or best in a particular category of gadget. And this week, it's phones. Jason, what do you got?
OK, I have the UK's first HSDPA phone, high-speed download packet access.
How much faster is that than 3G?
4 times faster than 3G. OK, from the non-technical perspective, basically it means broadband in your pocket, 1.8 megabits, which is very quick.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
I can't even get 3G at home at the moment. What chance is the coverage of...
I think you've hit on
this?
In reality.
In reality, the Achilles heel of all of these sort of mobile data solutions, GPRS, 3G, Wi-Fi, HSDPA, is whether they're going to work or not. And I think we're on the cusp of all of this suddenly becoming available. And interestingly, all of the aforementioned formats are all available on this one handset, including Wi-Fi.
Ah, right. That's
Quite clever stuff, really.
So that's 5.
It bodes well for the future, I think.
I have got a concept phone here from a design company called Alloy. So strip away a lot of the technology that you were just talking about. And this has been designed specifically tailored for certain needs of the market at the moment. I mean, how many times do you hear people say, I can't see the text, it's not big enough? So much bigger keyboard and much easier to see everything.
Don't you think? Thank goodness someone's taken... I know that Vodafone released a phone similar to that, didn't they, a couple of years ago now?
Simply or something.
Yeah.
But not everybody wants everything. They don't want all the gadgets, you know, so that this company looking at tailoring things specifically to what people want. So, for example, that's quite good on the front, you know, huge letters, it tells you who's calling you.
Brilliant.
Good idea.
Yeah, very good idea.
I've got another UK first. The UK's first 5-megapixel camera phone.
That's amazing. But the thing is, I mean, we've seen bigger. We've covered 10 megapixels on this show in phones, but they're just essentially concepts. This thing is available in the shops.
Yeah. Now.
And what's the quality like?
We took a picture on this.
Yeah.
We've had it processed. I've run down to the chemist. Here it is.
He's quick.
Oh, that's quite good.
That is really good.
I'm impressed.
Nice,
nice
contrast.
No pixelation on the picture.
No, there's not actually, is there?
And the natural light, you know, is clear. You know, it's distinguishable,
Clarity,
isn't it?
colour, everything, true colour. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Have you given this a road test yet?
I've only got it today, but I've got this and a couple of other camera phones to really test later in the series.
Good. Well, we'll look forward to that. But enough about phones for the moment, because we've got to go back to our paparazzi challenge.
That's right. Me and Suzi was set loose on the streets of London to try and snap as many famous people as we could in a day.
Now, the idea of the challenge was to find the best high-def camcorder that you can buy. I had the Sony HC3.
And my weapon of choice was Sanyo's Exacti HD1.
So we'll be testing the quality of both the stills and video, as well as finding out how easy the cameras are to use. If either of them have any shortcomings, that's going to be very apparent very quickly as we comb the streets of London for A-listers, B-listers, and let's face it, any listers.
Here we are, London's celebrity central, Primrose Hill. In that park, more celebrity moms than you can shake a rattle at. And down this high street, cafes galore. This place should be teeming with A-listers. I combed the cafes and checked out every passing car, but all I could manage to find in Primrose Hill were other paparazzi.
Yeah. You in the Gadget Show?
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. I've got a great gadget.
Mine, this is high def.
Is that the new high def one?
Yeah. It's not obviously it's not going to, you know, do stills like this bad boy, but it's got simultaneous stills.
And it doesn't.
video.
Does it run off a DV tape, or is it MP3?
SD card.
Ooh.
Oh.
SD card. Well, you just missed Sadie Frost.
No, where was
You're
she?
not a very good pap, unfortunately.
I'm rubbish, aren't I?
know. You just missed Sadie Frost. She left her house, which is just up the road. In about half an hour's time, Chris Evans will be walking past here.
Really?
Yeah.
Despite waiting for almost an hour, I saw no sign of Chris Evans. Just 2 more camera-shied paps. Time to move on.
While Jason was floundering on Primrose Hill, I hit gold. Well, sort of.
OK, first spot, I can see Goldie just outside this cafe here. Looks like he's having a cup of coffee with a lady. Now, I don't know whether that's his wife, his girlfriend, or hopefully for me, it's somebody he's not meant to be with. That would make this worth more money. One of the problems with this is in the bright sunlight, it's quite hard to see this screen clearly. And get a nice picture of him and all his gold rings and his gold jewellery.
A neat trick that both the camcorders play is that they let you take stills at the same time as you're shooting video. Although, on my Sony, that does make your stills suffer. Take a photo in stills mode and you get 4 megapixels. Take it while simultaneously shooting high-def video and the quality drops to 2 megapixels.
No such problems with my Exacti. Whether or not you're shooting video, your stills always get an impressive 5 megapixel treatment. Which would be great if I could just find anyone even vaguely famous to photograph. Excuse me, mate.
listen, I'll have to go a minute.
Are you Paul O'Neill?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes! Mel C's brother, correct?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Touring car driver.
Yes, that's me.
Fantastic. Do you mind if I get a shot of you?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
no
being a
problem,
paparazzi for a day. Just say
right.
cheese.
My first celeb is in the can, and thanks to the Exacti's beautifully ergonomic design, I was able to fire off a whole load of video and stills while keeping my subject relaxed with some showbiz banter. Rather annoyingly though, both stills and video record to the same memory card, so each time you take a still, it interrupts the video.
Paul O'Neill, fantastic. Touring car, Spice Guy.
It's official. I am the worst paparazzi photographer that there's ever been in history. I'm just taking a phone call and just missed Neil Morrissey going into the Ivy. So clearly, rule number one, never take your eyes off the door that you're trying to shoot. Right, there's a darkened Range Rover just pulled up at the top of the street. I reckon that could be somebody coming for lunch at the Ivy. So I'm standing ready. Well, she's wearing a short skirt. That looks like, oh, that's Rebecca Lewis.
Rebecca Lewis, perfect tabloid fodder. This has got to put me ahead of Jason, and I'm getting some pretty good video. But getting that all-important set of photos is proving harder.
Every time you take a picture, you have to wait a couple of seconds to take another one. And you've got time, it's fine. But not really if you're trying to be pap.
Oddly, in another part of London, I'm having a very similar thought about my Exacti.
Once you've taken an image, it seems to take an absolute age for it to process the image and allow you to take a second photograph, which, of course, for a paparazzi is a complete no-no. And the battery light has already started blinking, so I'm crossing my fingers that it'll last me until the end of the day.
Still, time is running out, and we've got celebs to find.
And I've got a tip that Maggot from Goldie Looking that's him, is coming out. Is it okay?
As Suzi's pile of celebs grew ever higher, I was starting to get desperate.
Excuse me, mate. Are you in a band, right?
Yeah.
You are, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're in a band, and you're his girlfriend, right? Wow, absolutely fantastic.
Now that is the guy that played Danny Moon in EastEnders. These are fantastic. He might be coming to hit me.
Rachel Stevens. Rachel, is it Rachel?
Yeah.
Hey, Rachel, you're an absolute star. Thank you very much indeed.
Oh, look, that's Suzi from Big Brother.
Wait, Ricky Gervais. Fantastic, man.
Well, at least one of us is taking this contest seriously, and now I've found Steve Brookstein, the first winner of the X Factor.
Can I see him from here? Yeah, I can. Give me a song. Can
you go away, please?
Can you sing?
No,
can you?
No, I can't have this. I can't have it. Look, this is HDTV. I look crap. No, thank you.
Steve for X Factor.
No!
Why?
Stop it!
Jay, what are you doing here?
I've already done it!
Oh, what a letdown, man!
I've already done it, and Steve sang to me.
This was an exclusive tip-off. We were guguaranteed this. So tell me, who have you seen?
I've seen Goldie this morning. Rebecca Lewis, not wearing many clothes.
Was she a little bit like that?
She was like that. How have you had? Well, I haven't, you know.
Sporty Spice's brother?
Good move.
Right?
That's great.
The fact that we've both turned up at the same celebrity is a bit embarrassing, but it does allow us the chance to compare the HD quality of the two cameras as they shoot the same subject.
Now, obviously, as the Gadget Show is broadcast in standard definition, we can't show you the HD footage the camcorder shot in all its glory. But when you put them side by side, it's clear as day that Suzi's Sony is far superior in quality to my little Sanyo. And another shortcoming of the Sanyo made itself apparent shortly afterwards, at the most inopportune moment.
Oh my God, celebrity, get filming.
When finally I found the biggest celebrity of the day.
Excuse me, I'm a budding paparazzi. I'm filming for the Gadget Show. Can I take your picture?
Yes.
You're the first proper celebrity I've seen. And I'm actually a genuinely big fan of yours.
Very good.
I bumped into Simon Callow, a real Hollywood star. I got him to pose, I hit the record button, but was too embarrassed to admit that my Sanyo's battery had died.
So you bumped into Simon Callow.
I did, yeah.
You had a chat with him.
Lovely guy.
You got him to pose for you.
Great pose.
And then you pretended to take pictures.
No pictures or video.
That's really bad.
It's quite embarrassing, isn't it?
That's great news for me because after the break, Paparazzi King, Darren Lyons, is going to be here judging our photographs. And I think you'll agree after seeing that, I'm clearly going to win the competition this week.
You could have said that were it not for the fact that I went home, charged up my Exacti and went out on an evening of celebrity pap snappery.
No, it was only for the day, I thought.
Well, you know, you've got to get creative with the rules.
Well, who did you get?
If you want to win.
Who did you get? Who did you get? Who?
I'm not going to tell you.
Come on.
All right, I'll give you a clue to one of them. Huge A-list Hollywood celeb.
Yeah.
Star Wars, Pulp Fiction, Snakes on a Plane. Join us after the break. Welcome back. Now, earlier in the show you saw me and Suzi running madly around the streets of London trying to take the perfect paparazzi picture using two state-of-the-art high-def stills and video cameras. The question is, which one of us won? Here to tell us just that is Mr. Paparazzi himself, Darren Lyons from Big Pictures. How you doing, Darren?
Yeah, I'm well. I've been looking
OK, so
forward.
you saw the film?
Yeah.
How do you think we did?
Well, I thought Suzi did amazingly. I thought you were...
Yes, but?
But, you know, dodgy.
Right.
Mate, I'm telling you,
Well,
you've got to try harder.
I reckon I've got some...
Shall I go first, though?
You go,
Shall I have a little look? I've got sets of these. So this is the most handsome man of the day, obviously. It's Jake Maskell.
Well, that's a good hit, because EastEnders is a very popular series. You know, that's the kind of thing that would sell.
Then I've got a set of Goldie, drinking coffee. Got some full length, some close-ins with all this...
Great.
Shot, that is.
I'd like to know who this hand is.
Yeah, I've got pictures with the girl, though, as well.
Well done, darling.
I don't know who that was.
Rebecca Luce. Yeah, good hit, really good hit. Well done. And, oh, that's Mr. Forgotten X Factor. Actually, that's a great picture. I love that. Now, I reckon that's the kind of picture that would sell in one of the funnies, you know, like News of the World Sunday magazine, one of the funnies, because he's obviously he's played the game with you really, really well. It's
I've
done
also
well.
got some moving footage and stuff as well to look, because that's important now as well, isn't it? That they're getting the moving
No,
footage.
very much so. It's selling really, really well. That is the next big medium, paparazzi TV, particularly on the internet and on TV. Well, I tell you what, says you're going to be hard to beat. Who the hell is that?
Does it look real? It's Paul O'Neill, Sporty Spice's brother. A-list. All right. But no, this guy's really big.
Yeah, he's big money.
He's a very, very big, very elusive, hard to get on camera.
That is the worst bloody picture of my...
You're like a pirate.
I don't think you're endearing yourself to Darren here.
No, it's not going.
Let's go for the next one. We've got some serious talent.
Great. He's unbelievable. Where was he? Madame Tussauds?
He was, yeah.
I tell you what, I've got a keen eye, buddy. I tell you what, I can pick that one. But I tell you, the framing isn't bad. The framing isn't bad.
Do you know what? I really thought you'd got a Samuel L. Jackson.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you've copped out badly, buddy.
Okay.
You have lost this challenge so badly.
I must just say that when I was running around the streets and holding this thing in my right hand with the screen out like that, it does have the feel of a 1960s kind of Super 8 film camera, you know? And I do think that as a video camera only, although I agree the quality is not as good, it's very ergonomic and it works well. You know, you pull it from the hip and you press play. Stills, yes, it takes some time, it takes too long to process the image, but video, I think, is one of its strong points.
Well, the funny thing is the Rebecca Luce and David Beckham inside the nightclub in Spain, which made an absolute fortune financially, was exactly shot on one of these style of cameras.
Really?
And it was all on video, and the stills were taken off the video. So, you know, the fact of the matter is, this can still make a tremendous amount of money if you get the right thing, right place at the right time.
And let's face it, if you're buying this kind of camera, you're not going to buy it as a stills camera.
No,
you're buying it for the
video. Yeah,
so, you know, video quality, very, very important.
And when it came to video quality, the Sony HC3 was massively superior to the Sanyo Exacti, especially when it came to shooting HD. So that's why the HC3 is the Gadget Show's new favourite camcorder.
Darren, you've been absolutely fantastic. Would you stay around because we're about to test my hoverboard version H2.0
Oh, you're gonna love
outside. You've got your jacket on, which is a good thing because it's going to get wet.
We're testing my hoverboard in a conveniently positioned pool just outside our studio, which is a bit deeper than you might imagine.
To do that.
Right, come on. I'm getting cold.
With all 4 engines running, it's time for our first test. Now, I know my hoverboard works on land, but can it really hover on water. Amazingly, it works first time. And remember, this isn't floating, it's actually hovering a few millimetres above the water's surface.
Fantastic, well done, Jace. Worked.
Stage one is a success. It hovers of its own accord on water. The question is, of course, now, will it support my weight? Here we go. So, we know it works, but next up, I'm going to try and stand on it. If this doesn't work, I'm about to get very wet.